Yesterday was a very special day that comes literally once every 4 years because it's a leap year. It's a leap year. And as a result, we got February 29th when February normally only has 28 days. Kind of cool. It's a leap day, as it were. Really, really trippy. Because I remember waking up and looking at the calendar. I was like, it's still February? I was like, what? It broke my brain for a second before I remembered. However, it's a special event, but you would think in the age of, the year of our Lord Hideo Kojima that we would have pretty robust software engineers taking care of it, making sure that we don't end up with sort of a Y2K situation. In case you're too young to remember, granted, I was like 3 when this happened, but the Y2K, that whole thing was basically a fear that people had back in 99, that when the year turned to 2000, it would break all of the computers and all of the computer systems in the country because they had all been coded basically for 2 years, or for 2 digits for the year. And so it was like the year is 98, the year is 99. They just didn't really think forward enough to be like, oh, we need 4 digits, especially because 4 digits doubled the amount of storage space you basically needed to track dates and years, which back in the day, memory in computers was a valuable commodity. It was not something you could just take for granted like you can today. So those extra digits really mattered. So coders and engineers didn't really account for it. And so there were fears of a Y2K thing happening, where basically once the year turned to 2000, all of these software programs would break. You would have planes crashing out of the sky. It would basically be Armageddon. And a lot of people like stocked food. I remember watching a documentary that was filmed at the time of like doomsday preppers and people freaking out about it. And it ended up being basically nothing burger because there were a lot of people that like saw this coming years and years before and rewrote all their code and took care of it to make sure it didn't happen or cause problems. But yeah, you guys think COVID toilet paper was bad? Y2K was 10 times worse. Yeah, it was like crazy. I remember, I think I heard a TikTok of a clip of Joe Rogan's podcast where he was saying that on Y2K, he like stayed home and locked himself in his apartment and had stocked up on some food. Like everybody thought that it was going to be the end of the world. Well, the year 2000 came, nothing really happened. It was fine. Like a couple of software programs got a little weird, but it wasn't anything crazy. However, like that was just over a year, right? Turns to 2000 makes sense. They didn't account for it. What happens when it comes to leap years though? This is where we come back to what yesterday was. Well, apparently some games and some software engineers that work over at Square Enix did not account for leap years when coding a particular game that you might have heard of. It's Theater Rhythm is the name of it, but apparently it's like a mobile game, mobile rhythm game. And what's interesting about this is that this user posted and was like, I wanted to boot up Theater Rhythm to do my dailies. They just give extra rhythmia, shut up, and the game is not booting up because it appears the game connects to Square Enix server for whatever reason, even though I have a physical copy, or maybe it's not a physical, maybe it's not a mobile game. It might be a console. I don't know. Anyway, but people ask why I play old games. Apparently, is my game save corrupted? My game got stuck connecting forever, and now when I try loading in the game, it goes to a black screen forever. Please tell me it's not lost forever. I really don't want to have to redo everything. Edit, a solution has been found. For some reason, the game cannot work on February 29th, presumably tied to leap years. And as such, it'll black screen forever until you change the clock back to the 28th and presumably any date after the 29th as well. Once the date it changed the game, it will go, or is changed, the game will go back to running perfectly fine again. It's on PS5 and Switch. Oh, okay. So straight up, they just didn't account for leap day. And for whatever reason, on February 29th, the game just doesn't work and is not functioning. Now that it's March 1st again, the game is apparently working just fine and everything's cool. But it's just really funny that we saw an actual Y2K event basically occur just because they didn't really think of it. And they probably just set up the date. They have like a calendar in the software, or in their programming, whatever. I don't know what I'm talking about, but the calendar they used did not have a leap day. And so when it said the date, it checks the date to like track your dailies or whatever. And when it checks the date, it sees a date it doesn't think exists, and the game just breaks and doesn't know what to do. So I thought that was funny. An actual example of how something as simple as not accounting for a leap day can just totally break a game entirely for a day, but still kind of a fun thing. This makes absolutely no sense to me and my monkey brain. Basically, it's just that like you want MS Paint, all of the software engineers in the audience are going to be cringing. Buckle up, everybody. Basically, all a program does is like checks and logic rules that move from thing to thing. And so, based on certain inputs, you can have different outcomes. And it's just a set of rules that are followed to lead you to certain things. So like this might split off here to this solution, which could lead you back over here to the same one that this leads to, or this one might lead you all the way back to the beginning. So, these are all basically yes, no questions is how you could think of it. So like it takes the input, it calculates this. So this could be like the player logs in, gives their credentials. Okay, then it goes to the server right here and it checks the credentials. Oh, credentials went through. Awesome. If they didn't, it would send you back here. Okay, but it went through. So you move to the next block, and that next block is to check your daily rewards, and it checks the daily rewards by checking what day it is today and comparing that to the last day that you logged in according to what the server says. The server says last day you logged in was on 2/28 of 2020. Oh my God, 4. Okay, but the date it sees today is 2/29 2024, which it doesn't think is real. It doesn't think that date exists. So this parameter, where if the date is the day for, that's right after the day before, you get your daily extra reward, you get an extra like 100 XP or whatever. If it's not the day immediately after, it broke your streak, and so you just get your regular first day login bonus or whatever, and then it feeds through. But because it doesn't think this date exists, it can't answer correctly which way you should go, and so it breaks. And so this one can never resolve itself. It can't go anywhere, so it just sits on a black screen, basically trying again and again and again to see if it can ask the question again and just reevaluate the date, and it never really goes anywhere. So it just breaks. It just doesn't work. It doesn't know where to go. And that's how you end up with like soft locks, or not soft locks, like hard locks or crashes in games, is there's just some code that can't resolve itself. And so the software just kind of freaks out and then pops. It's just like its brain overloads and overheats and melts because it just can't figure out what to do anymore. Yeah, it's the equivalent of like that kid in high school who was really stressed about the chemistry exam. And one of the questions is just so bafflingly difficult that they just start freaking out, sweating profusely, and then they stand up, scream, and sprint out of the room. That's what these programs are doing when they're not able to resolve a thing like that. So how they would fix it is to change that out so it either acknowledges day one, or the day in question, February 29th, or you can put an extra little line of code in there that's like, if you're not able to resolve this, then move back to like login, or move to this other potential contingency, which is like assume that they didn't log in consecutively. So there's ways to do it, but it's a very rare problem because, again, February 29th comes around once every 4 years. And so for them, they might have even recognized the problem and just been like, it's not a big deal. On that day, people won't be able to log in, whatever. Like they might just honestly have just been like, it's not really worth the trouble.